Bluetooth enabled.
Hey, Gabor. Not connected to the Bluetooth no more.
There he is right there.
All right, there we go. It's not playing though. Oh, there we go. Oh, you gotta keep it open?
Yeah, you can't go nowhere.
Okay.
When it's playing. Like, you need to share the class.
I was about to do that, but it's no sweat. You said I can do it from this one, right? Yeah, I do see it on here.
But the goal live got all eyes on me. Give a damn what they talking about, got soldiers ride with me. And they know I'm lethal. Got my reach. Said I was gonna get it. They ain't gonna see, they ain't gonna believe. Can't stop, I can't now. Hold on, let me get the breakdown. Treat it gold like a cane now. I'm about to let my light shine. Piped up till the pipe down. These niggas selling pipe dream. Baby girl, sweet as ice cream, and I need, you better believe. Sit back, look at my cheeks. Why you ever take my meat? Competition ain't free. I'm about to take them to the clip. They will get started depressed. Then I start no rest. These niggas ready, and I'm not impressed. I have them holding chest. That he having heart attacks. Told them hard to death. I know that they see it, but they don't believe. Look at them so many. 144, Michigan beat. We undefeated. You better believe. Fuck real niggas. I'm getting it. Drop a line up like a bomb motor. Prepare for the fallout. One way solid, what you talking about? Me and my nigga by the ball out. Me and little nigga by the bow out. Tell her wake up, tell her fall out. I'm on my job, I can't call out. I'm in the winter with it on now. Don't give a damn about that. Bring a little nigga, you about to lose today. Look, I got moves to make. You can even move, you can get moved away. Choose your fate. Look at these fools, they fake. They got a card to play. Nigga, they ain't hard to break. You get dark today. Like the rest of trying to talk the hard way. We gon' wait out of your league. Please believe. But they go laugh, got all eyes on me. Give a damn what they talk about, got soldiers ride with me. And they know I'm lethal, I got my wrist. I'm gon' get it, know they gon' see, but they ain't gon' believe. Sleep with it, now you know that. Fuck the world, I can't go back. Ain't no coward, I don't know that. Bitch, I'd rather take a toe tag. Run it up, you know I'm good to go. Work my ball, you know I'm good as gold. They want smoke, I'm revenge naked in my bedroom doing the Tootsie Roll. Big dog, niggas, I'm trying. This my time. Way out the line, way out of bounds. Oh, you ain't know this a lie.
Hard. You smell that?
I know it's gone, I know it's gone, but you gotta stay focused. It's a cool world of the girl. I should be a soldier, you should be my loaded. It feel like something controlling me, spirit sick over me, holding me high with it. Believe me, it's over, look over my shoulder, and I see my soldiers, and they ain't no play. Keep speeding fake, he real, but I'm real. Fucking leader, I don't feel it. Fucking God, I don't feel it. Covers out, I'm about to kill him. Hold up, let me kill the rhythm. Okay, I got it, I'm ready. He cross that line, he gon' regret it. Know how I rock it steady. Hope you keep it going steady. You better believe it. Certified, won't bet solid, ain't hard to test. Can't let this hard as hell. These people racist, nigga, better watch yourself. I'm getting this milk. Chasing them blue faces like I'm Gargamel. And I work too hard to fail. Block with me, gotta guard yourself. You know why I keep it, they try to come get me, I'm squeezing. You better believe. But the go live got all eyes on me. Give a damn what they talk about, got soldiers ride with me. And they know I'm lethal, I got my reach. I'm gon' get it, yeah. Know they gon' see, but they ain't gon' believe like that.
I never heard this one.
Something new for your earwax.
The flute?
Preaching prophet of the Lord, gotta teach this people, exposing all the lies with the truth. Now they can see the evil, we the lost children of the Lord. Yasha, chopping heads off with my sword. Holy Bible, one West, West, one West, one West, one West till they bury me. One West, one West, yeah. One West, one West, one West till they bury me. I'm really for my people, y'all just playing games. I'm all about the truth, we are not the same. I'ma shoot it to you straight, wouldn't love to slay. U.P.K, y'all finished, bitch, yeah, you know the name. Started on the streets back in '69. Read it in the records, now I want what's mine. Came up from the dust, now you see the shine. Ain't no cowards in my camp, all we know is grind. Preaching prophet of the Lord, gotta teach this people, exposing all the lies with the truth. Now they can see the evil, we the lost children of the Lord. Y'all should holler, chopping heads off with my sword. Holy Bible, one West, one West, one West, one West, one West, till they bury me. One West, one West, one West, one West. When it's when it's game time, shield of David, no game sign. Nothing but truth that we bring to you. Chain of the spirit, we break it loose. Repent for your sins and from within. Become a new man in your stead. For all the people who need you. Damn right we gon' teach you. Cause the preacher man be lying, telling all them lies, but he still wants your time. For the new car he drive. It's not time that we wake up. Ain't no devil gon' save us. All we need is the truth. 144 in them boots. Preaching prophet of the Lord, gotta teach this people, exposing all the lies with the truth. Now they can see the evil, we the lost children of the Lord. Y'all should holler, chopping heads off with my sword. Holy Bible, one West, one West, one West, one West, one West, till they bury me. One West, one West, one West, one West, one West, till they bury me.
All right, Shalom, Israel. We the I.S.U.P.K. We started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York City, under Commanding General Yohana, established in 1969. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group. We teach the truth according to the Bible. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the children of Israel, the real Jews of antiquity. All right, so today we're going to get into the history of our northern tribes, being the Gadites, you know what I mean, our North American Indians, as well as our Hispanic tribes, being, you know, the Dominicans, the so-called Mexicans, so-called Puerto Ricans, you know, so on and so forth. Of course, the northern tribes, also the Native Indian tribes are split up as well. You know, there's Reuben, there's Gad. What is the other one?
Asher, Naphtali.
So like these different tribes that make up the 10 northern tribes of Israel, we're going to get into in the Bible and other sources that we have on where who they are today and how did they become a part of the lands where they are now, of course, today, which is North America. Okay. Right. So start me off at Deuteronomy first, chapter 27, verse 1. All right, so Deuteronomy, of course, the chapter that talks about different curses of the Israelites that we would actually endure, you know, coming out of our own land. You know what I mean? Like going into, like if we did not follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, then we would go into captivity. Of course, that was going into Egypt. You know what I mean? Going into captivity in Egypt, going into captivity under the Babylonians, going into captivity under the Assyrians. So the Lord was telling us in Deuteronomy, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the Israelites, that if we didn't follow his laws and commandments, that this is what happened. And if we did, this is what would happen. So we're going to go into it to show you how we know that the Israelites are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Go ahead and read up.
Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 1. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day.
Okay, so Moses and the elders of Israel said, keep all the commandments that I give you this day. So, of course, we know that the Most High chooses a representative, and he works through that representative to lead the nation of Israel.
Right.
So at this time, the representative was Moses. All right, it was Moses, and he came to Moses. He gave Moses the commandments. He told Moses to give the commandments to the Israelites. So of course, because there's always rank and order under Moses, there was Aaron, and under Aaron there was the elders of Israel. Meaning the higher ranking men or men that were, of renown. And then under them was the multitude of Israelites. So he went to Moses, and Moses, he commanded them saying, what again? Read it again.
Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 1. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments.
Keep what?
Keep all the commandments.
Keep what?
Keep all the commandments.
Keep some of the commandments.
All the commandments.
Okay, keep all of the commandments. Now, as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, this is what makes us who we are. This is what makes us separate. Because before we had these laws, statutes, and commandments, we were just like the heathens. We would eat whatever we can catch, you know what I mean, and put our rod in whatever we could put it in, like, you know what I mean, to the point where, because there was nothing that governed what to do and what not to do, and that's how the heathens live. So you see the heathens today. They eat bats, you know what I mean? They have sex with animals. They cut themselves. They drink blood. They make all kind of markings in their skin, incest, so many different things, because they don't have laws that govern those things.
Right.
They don't have laws that govern those things. So in America, in the white society, you can be a homosexual because there's no law that governs not being a homosexual. Then and as far as marriage, you can you can marry a, same-sex marriage, when it comes down to it, marriage being signing that paper, that paper marriage. So, people can, marry and then divorce and do whatever they want to do. But for us, we have laws of marriage. Sex is marriage, right? And because sex is marriage, it allows us to be able to, not be whores, right? Because as long as you can just go sign a paper and then not sign a paper, then sign a different paper to get out of your marriage, you could just be a whore. But because sex is marriage, you can't just put your rod on where you want to put it in and throw them away. You have to take care of your husband, take care of your wife, so on and so forth. So we have these laws that govern us, and this separates us from the rest of the earth. All right? And that's why he says we are the salt of the earth, because we have the quality. We don't eat everything just because it says it's food. We don't, just have sex when we want to have sex when we want to have sex. All right? So these laws is what set us apart. We don't follow those laws today. We serve other gods in America. We serve other gods in the UK and every other land that there is where we're scattered. And because we follow these other gods, we suffer. All right? So we're going to show you that right now. Read it again.
Mm-hmm. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day.
Go ahead. And
it shall be on the day when you shall pass over Jordan unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
Okay. Go drop the 28 and 1. All right, drop the 28 and 1. I'm gonna do it real quick. This is just a quick foundation to show you who we are, the curses, and what we're going through today. And then I'm gonna go into the history of the Native Indians, the so-called Gadites, Reubenites, Simeonites, Asher, the northern tribes. Okay, go ahead and read for me. 28:1.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, that thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Okay, so we're supposed to hearken diligently to the voice of the Lord thy God. The Most High, the true living God, is the God of Israel. That's you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. He is the Most High. He's the real true living God, and he's the God of us. And that's a special thing that we should feel special about, because when you think about the stories in the Bible, when we were in captivity, especially under the Egyptians, we were doing servile work, no different than we did in chattel slavery in America. Right. I'm talking about, you can think of all of the graphic sceneries that you see from the slavery in America. It was no different in Egypt. All right. And because we are the Israelites and we are God's chosen people, we have the service of the Lord. When we follow his law, statute, commandments, when we hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, he will do the things that we need him to do for us. Provide us with adequate food. Provide us with adequate water to drink, or
drink, provide us with shelter, provide us with clothes. We'll have dominion over the entire earth. You know what I mean? Rulership when we follow the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I mean? We'll rule the earth. Like literally have a different quality of life. With relationships where children can grow with both of their parents. You know what I mean? Where we don't have to be homeless, on drugs, incarcerated. All of these things that we deal with today in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community will be done away with when we come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. All right. So again, not only that, but he'll free us from this captivity. These oppressors that rule over us, like the Egyptians did, like the white man does today, he'll do the same to the white man today, like he did to the Egyptians during the Egyptian Empire. He will destroy our enemies. He will kill our enemies, man. He did it.
Right.
Time and time again, he has done it. And that's the service of the Most High Power. That's right. So again, that's the God that is our God. That's the God that we serve in the UPK. You understand? And because of that, like I said, it's a special thing. That's why in Deuteronomy 7:6 it says, "Thou art a special people." You understand? To who are the Israelites? To who pertain to the adoption, the giving of the laws and the glory and the covenant and the service of the Most High. We can have all of those things if we do what?
So if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
go ahead,
to observe and to do all his commandments.
If we just do that, man, we can have all of these great things on the earth, man. All of the great things, and we'll rule the earth. All right, we'll rule the earth, and it's going to tell us right now in the Bible to show you that there's no equality. It's not meant for everybody to be equal. There's no equality today. You understand? And because what goes around comes around, when we do get justice as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians for what the white man has done to us and is doing to us now, it's only right that we rule over them. That's justice. What goes around comes around. Like everybody believes in karma until it's slavery being paid back with slavery. Everybody believes in karma until it's you being sold, us being sold into your fathers. To now your children being sold to our fathers.
Right.
Everybody believes in karma to them. Go ahead and read, Doc.
To observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high.
That who?
The Lord thy God will set thee on high.
Like the Lord thy God, man. The God of Israel will set us on high. He has the power to do that. You understand? He has the power to raise nations. He has the power to destroy nations. He has the power to give life. He has the power to take life. That's why in the scriptures it says you should not fear the man that can kill the body.
Right.
We shouldn't fear the white man because he has a military, because he has all of these military bases all over the earth. He has nuclear weapons, and Chinese and the Arabs, and they got all these major armies and hands and governments. We shouldn't fear them. The most they can do is kill our flesh.
Right.
But they didn't create us. They didn't give us life. You understand? But this is the thing. We should not fear them, but we should fear the man that can kill the flesh, the body, and soul in hell. Right?
Right.
So that's what we're seeing right now because we're in hell, Blacks and Native Indians, and we're not in hell because the white man is so great. We're not in hell because the Chinese are so great. We're not in captivity on reservations on the reservations and the barrios all throughout the earth because the people that rule over us are so great. We're in these conditions because the Most High is punishing us.
Right.
For serving other gods, for not following his law, statutes, and commandments. So the thing that you're thinking that you're going to do because you're leaning on your own understanding as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians will all come to an end, will all fail. If you're not following these law, statutes, and commandments, which are many, then what you set out to do will fail. What you think you're going to accomplish is going to fail. What you think you're going to accomplish acquire for you or your family is going to be the exact opposite. We have to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments for the Most High God of Israel that gave us these laws and statutes and commandments to put us on high. Go ahead.
Right. That the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations.
Above all nations. Go ahead.
Of the earth.
Of the what?
Of the earth.
Of the earth. The entire planet. Right? These are words that get misconstrued in the Bible. Earth and world. Like earth is in the Bible. Just like world is in the Bible. When the Bible talks about the world, it's talking about different societies, different ages. When the world talks about the earth, it's talking about the actual planet.
Right.
Okay. So you, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, if you follow the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord gave us, even though they might not be something we agree on, they might be something that's going to cause us to have to fight. I'm talking about fight our demons in order for us to be righteous, but the reward is great. The reward is always great. Right. It's only the ideologies and the religions and all of these different philosophies that are the foundation of who we are that cause us to have the demons, that cause us to, that make us go against what the Lord said us for us to do. And it's no coincidence, because these other nations, the white society, Chinese, Arab, African, so on and so forth, they are how does the Bible refer to it? They are before the Lord. They are against the Most High. You understand? I think it's another way to say it. I forgot.
They're at enmity with the Most High.
Nah, it's another one. It's another one where when it talks about, like it said in Nimrod was against the Lord. No sweat. But no, that's not it either. The water though. But either way it goes, and without and for the lack of biblical terms, these other nations are against the Lord. So if the Bible says pork is not food, guess what all these other nations are going to say? Pork is a delicacy. Right. If the Bible says you're not supposed to have sex with a woman and throw her away, guess what America says? You can throw her away, you just can't have more than one at the same time. You can throw one away to get another one, or you can, sex is just sex. Right?
It's crazy.
Sex is just sex in America. Sex is just sex in the UK. In Africa, sex is just sex. And all of these things cause us to become whores.
Right.
Whether we're whores as sexual whores, whether we're whores serving other gods, you understand? Like those are all whores because we are marrying into other nations. Those are the things that are being promoted in all these other countries, all these other nations. They are against the Lord, man. And their religions and their ideologies and their philosophies and their traditions are all against the Lord, and everything that we as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have been raised under for the last 400 plus years, man. So it's in our DNA at this point. You know what I mean? We hear about Stockholm syndrome, you know what I mean, to the point where you've been in slavery so long that you take up the customs and you do the things that you was doing and forced to do during slavery. You just do it on your own. Mm-hmm. So now you fight and you eat pork and you love this and you love that and getting high and smoking cigarettes and, so on and so forth. These nations are against the Lord. And again, their commandments, these commandments that the Most High gave us, are for us to be on high, to be above all of these nations, to rule the earth, to have a quality nation, to have everything we can ever think of, imagine, food, land, resources, the milk and the honey. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's what the Bible is saying right now. Read that last part again.
Mm-hmm. That the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Go ahead.
And all these blessings shall come upon thee.
And all these blessings shall come upon thee. Go ahead.
And overtake thee.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
I mean, you're going to receive blessings, man. Blessings come from following the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I mean? Everything that we deal with today could be no more. Black on black crime can end. Single parent homes can end. You know what I mean? It can end. Criminal domestic violence can end. Or, what else? Mass incarceration will be no more. Starvation, homelessness, no more. If we follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, we will have blessings. Drop that. Give me 28 and 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Go ahead.
But it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken unto the what? If thou wilt not.
If thou what?
Will not.
If thou will not, go ahead.
Hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
The Bible tells us, man, this is a real book. I can show you child support in this Bible, man. I can show you child support in this Bible. I can show you Martin Luther King in this Bible. I can show you the transatlantic slave trade in this Bible. We're going to show you right now the Native Indians and Hispanics, where they came from and how they ended up in America in this Bible. Yeah, right. This is a real book. It's not fake. You understand? When that Bible says that we should follow these laws, statutes, commandments, and we will receive blessings, that is real. That is real. When it's telling us right now that if we don't hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, go ahead.
If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee.
That is real, man. That is real. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I mean, the list of these curses and what we deal with goes on and on and on. And they all written right here in this 28th chapter. They all right here in chapter 28 in Deuteronomy. We can go down the whole entire list and show you why you can't own a business, or why you own a business is not successful.
Right.
We can show you why you get land or you can't have land. Why you cannot seem to just get the money to get land. We can show you why you on child support. We can show you why you got AIDS, STDs. We can show you why you got high blood pressure, why you have heart disease, why we're dying at strokes at such an alarming rate, heart attacks, why we are mass incarceration. We make up most of the percentage in the jail cell. Why we at the bottom of every economic structure. We can show you in the Bible, because those are curses. We're suffering curses for not following the law, statutes, commandments. And it's because of our leaders, man. It's because of our leaders that didn't tell us the truth of this Bible. Right. That choose to serve the white society. That choose to serve the Moabites and the Ammonites, who are the Japanese and Chinese, who choose to serve Africans and every other nation except the God of Israel. This is why we suffer, man. All right? We suffer for that reason, man. We don't have the leadership to tell us what's right and what's wrong. This is the right. This is the wrong thing to do. But it's happening now, and it's been since 1969, man. Right. The I.S.U.P.K and the Comanche Hana is taking these dry bones, these blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that grew up in these households that lack that morality, that lack that integrity and that history and that tutelage, and he's giving it to us, man. We're talking about old and young, the elder and the young. You know what I mean? Like you got brothers and sisters that come in here that are 70 years old, 65 years old, right? That never heard this truth, that are finally given the opportunity to be righteous. Children that are coming in here never have to be sinful. That grow up in righteousness, man. Damn right. Grow up never eating pork, never having to think about homosexuality and being a part of that lifestyle, being attacked by those demons. And it's a beautiful thing, man. All right, it's a beautiful thing, but it does take a fight, because all of these ideologies and religions is embedded inside of our blood, man. It's embedded inside of our minds. What it talks about, like the Bible talks about the mark of the beast. It's in our minds, embedded inside of our minds, to the point where we fight, which is that mark of the beast being in our hand. We fight for Christianity. We fight in the name of Islam. We fight in the name of America, in the name of Jerome, in the name of Shamika, in the name of Tyrese, in the name of Sarah. We fight in the name of ourselves and our own understanding of these religions and everything else, instead of fighting in the name of the Most High. And we end up struggling, afflicted, sorrowful, burdened. And that's what you see all across the nation, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We're supposed to be on top, man. We're supposed to be on top and ruling these other nations. But because we're not, read.
Come. Start from the top again.
No, read right where it says where we don't follow.
Come. If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee.
Man, listen, man, I play with them curses if you want to, man. Play with those curses if you want to, man. The brothers and sisters that come into the I.S.U.P.K are tired of suffering, man.
Right.
The brothers and sisters that come into the UPK are tired of being afflicted, tired of having to raise kids by themselves, tired of having to be lied to all day by everybody at work and school, at church. You know what I mean? Right. They're tired of suffering. They come up in here because they tired, man. You know what I mean? Of suffering those curses. Continue.
And overtake thee.
Go ahead.
Curse shall thou be in the city.
Curse shall thou be in the city. Go ahead.
And curse shall thou be in the field.
Like you talking about owning businesses and being on Wall Street and getting in the economy, and your credit right, and so on and so forth.
Right.
You can do it, but whether you get far or not is going to depend on your righteousness. It's going to depend on your righteousness. How righteous are you? Are you following these laws, statutes, commandments? Are you paying your tithes? You know what I mean? Are you doing these things? Because if you're not, you might get a business and it'll fail. You might not even get a business. The Lord will give you something and take it right back from you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Same thing, cursed in the field. Like we want to have land. What land do we own? It's barely blacks and Hispanics that own land. We fight and kill each other over white people's blocks. You know what I mean? Over areas where the damn Chinese people got more power in. Mm-hmm. We fight over those blocks in those neighborhoods, man. We don't own land, and that's because we are suffering a curse. You can try to get land, and it'll be you won't even see it in your lifetime. Your kids will never see it. Your kids' will never see it because it's generational, man. But we can stop that generational curse today. We can stop it now with you. You can do the one. You can be the one to stop that generational curse, those generational curses, by being the man and woman to come into the I.S.U.P.K and follow these laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
And then we'll teach our kids to do so. And they'll be raised up and they'll teach their kids to do so. And then you'll start to see a nation that comes from righteousness and throughout our generations, man. Owning businesses, having land, passing it down to our children and children's children, man. Go ahead and read.
Curse shalt thou be thy basket in thy store.
All right, go. You know what I'm saying? Curse shall be thy basket in thy store. That's talking about your businesses, man. Your basket in your store. Like your basket is where you have your product at. Your product or your service. That's your basket. And your store is where you do it from. It'll be cursed. You won't get any sales. You won't get any profits. You know what I mean? You'll have so much liability that you'll lose money trying to start a business. Mm-hmm. And then you'll be back to nothing because you've invested all of this money into starting a business and it fails. And now you're poor. And now you're just focused on trying to survive. It happens, man. You go ahead and read through 28 all the way down and you'll see all of these different curses, man. You'll have a wife and she'll be sleeping with another man. You know what I mean? Those are curses. You'll plant a vineyard and you won't be able to eat the grapes of that vineyard. You know what I mean? Like that's curses, man. And that's what you see in America. We've built up America. The Mexicans have built every roof and plumbing and everything you could think of in this infrastructure. The Negroes picked all of the damn cotton and everything you could think of. And the Jamaicans and Haitians, the sugar cane and oranges and all that. We picked all of those things and made America great. We made China great. We made Egypt great. We made all of these nations great, man. And we don't benefit nothing from it because we're suffering in a curse. Right. We're suffering curses, man.
Damn right.
All right. So drop that. Let me get into 2 Kings. Second Kings, the 17th chapter. We're going to get into it now. All right. I just want to give you the backdrop because that is a good reference to show who the Israelites are today. Because if you say you are an Israelite and you're not suffering these curses, then you're not an Israelite. The white man who calls himself a Jew, he's not in poverty. He's not in mourning. He's not seeing his kids be sold to another people. You know what I mean? He didn't come here on cargo slave ships. That's all in Deuteronomy. Go all the way to Deuteronomy 28 and 64. You'll see. You understand? We were bought here on slave ships like the Bible said the Israelites would. You understand? We were bought here on slave ships and sold to our enemies, man. Sold to white society. Those are curses. Poverty. You know what I mean? Like not being able to raise our children. Not being able to love our woman, man. Not being able to love your husband. We wasn't able to do those things. Why? Because those are curses. Being sold to another people. Not being able to have your family intact. All right? So now we about to get into the specifics, okay? Go ahead and give me 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 1.
Khan out of one Khan. 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 1. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. Okay, so we talking about right now, we in what, Samaria? So we in Samaria, the kings of Judah and Hosea, you understand? And what happened was, under their leadership, we went to sin. We went to sin, no different than we was under Moses. When we came out of Egypt, I'm talking about we came out of Egypt, was free from our captivity, and all of the men and women who follow Moses
out of captivity questioned him and his authority on whether he was really sent from God. After seeing all of these miracles, and then they went to building a golden calf. They went to doing all types of manner of evil. And we do it. We've done it many, many times, man. Many, many times we went and served other gods instead of serving our own God. You don't know that the decisions that you make that are against the God, the scriptures in this Bible, the law, statutes, and commandments in this Bible, you're serving another God. Mm-hmm. Like the Bible says that we should not go into the way of the heathen. Right. So when you do things like get dreadlocks, that's not Israelite culture. Right. And when you come down to really get into it, dreadlocks is the worship of a God. Right. So again, you might not see these things, what you're doing and what you're following, what you have so much faith in. Mm-hmm. But those things, if they're not in this Bible and what the Lord said to do, you're serving another God. You're committing whoredom against the Most High God of Israel. Again, so this is what's happening right now. Go ahead.
But not as the kings of Israel that were before him.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Against him came up Shalmaneser,
mm-hmm.
king of Assyria.
Okay, go ahead. So again, now what happened? Because we followed after other gods instead of our own gods. What happened? I'm too wild. This is good right here. What happened? Our enemies attacked us and they came over us. Because think about it like this, to the simplicity. Mm-hmm. This is my brother right here. If me and my brother are enmity with each other, or we doing things like I'm selling drugs, right? And which is evil. And I'm selling drugs to his mom, and he's selling drugs to my mom. So now our parents are weak. He's weak because they're on drugs. They're sinning. We sinning because we selling drugs. What happens to us? We become weak. We become weak, and because we're angering the Lord by doing these sinful things, what happened? The Lord is going to send evil into evil for us to be attacked. Right. He's going to send our enemy to attack us. Like he's going to send our enemies to rule over us. And that's what happened in Deuteronomy. He said, I'm going to cause a nation to come from afar, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not know. Mm-hmm. We didn't know English. We didn't know Spanish. You know what I mean? Espanol. We didn't know that. We didn't know Portuguese. Our oppressor gave us those languages. The Lord sent them from the caves in Georgia, Russia. Sent them from all the way over as swift as the eagle flieth to come and oppress us because we wanted to serve other gods. Because we wanted to serve other gods. We wanted to do every other thing except what the Lord told us to do. So now the Lord is sending, he said his name,
Shalmaneser.
Shalmaneser. The Lord is sending Shalmaneser, who is the king over the Assyrians, all right, to come and rule over us. Start from the top again. Huh?
Verse 3. Against him came up Shalmaneser.
Mm-hmm. King read it from the top.
Oh, come on. 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 1. Go ahead. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. Go ahead. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him.
Right. So again, that's why Shalmaneser, right? Shalmaneser came to rule over us because we were doing evil, not like our fathers before us. Our fathers before us did righteously. Right. But here we are doing evil. And now, go ahead, read.
Against him came out Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents.
See? Because again, what we read in Deuteronomy, if we follow the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments, we will be put on high above all nations. But the exact opposite, if we do evil and not follow the law, statutes, and commandments, we will serve our enemies. Right. So the Lord said, Hosea became a servant to Shalmaneser. Go ahead.
And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messages to So, king of Egypt.
Okay, and the thing about it, just like this, like these are our kings. You understand? Hosea is our king. This is one of the highest men in our nation. So if he's serving Shalmaneser, right? Then what does that mean for us? The women, the elderly, the young men, the children. That means we all are in service to this heathen. So again, it starts with your leadership, man. It starts with your leadership. The leadership in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge is second to none. Right. Second to none, man. I'm talking about thorough brotherhood in here, teaching the scriptures, no respect of person, and we will not spare not, man. We don't spare not. We don't care about your feelings, how you think, or what you care about. We're going to tell you the truth because that's real love. That's real love, and some of us have to come to that to fight those demons of being weak and being liars.
Right.
We have to fight that demon. In the UPK, we hold tight to that, man. Go ahead and read.
Come. Mm-hmm. And he brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore, the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison.
You see what I'm saying? Like, we got to serve them and bring them gifts. Build up their buildings.
Right.
Build up their arenas.
Hey, pay the taxes.
You want to say something about?
Salaki, I was just saying, like, paying taxes. It's like he's paying tribute.
Right. Rendering unto Caesar what Caesar's.
Right.
Like, we giving unto our oppressors what they ask of us. We're serving them. They say we need you to get 10 sales this week. You got to get 10 sales this week. They say we need you to have this project built, this home or this duplex built by 2021. We out there hammering, nailing, sweating, cutting up ourselves, building their empire, man, building their businesses. You know what I mean? Building their corporations so their families can be able to lay up and relax and take vacations, see London in the wintertime and, Jamaica in the summer and, South America, the South Americas, and they enjoy this place, man. Right. They're in heaven and we're in hell. All right? They're in heaven and we're in hell. The so-called black man, the so-called Hispanics, our so-called Native Indian brothers and sisters, man, are in hell serving these other nations, man. Because our leaders have pitied us not. Our leaders are sunken into the ground. Our leaders have made covenants with the heathens. You understand? So now we bringing gifts to Shalmaneser. We bringing him gifts, and those gifts are what? Building up their empire, giving them gold, mining their fields, picking their cotton, and building their empire, building those pyramids. Building the Great Wall of China, building Wall Street, New York City, Los Angeles. It's time and time again in all these different empires, we've ended up building those empires because we've been doing evil. Go ahead and read, Doc.
Verse 5. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years.
So now we was in Samaria ruling. Now he done came into Samaria and sieged it, meaning he took over Samaria. He took complete control over Samaria and occupied our land. Did that not happen here in the Americas? Was not the Native Indians here and the Mexicans here and the all the way down the northern tribes?
Right,
they were here, but again they lost their ways. They lost their ways, which we about to get into. They lost their ways, and what happened? The Lord did exactly what he did right now.
Right.
He sent Esau over here, who was a so-called white man, over here to oppress our 10 tribe brothers and sisters over here. Oppress them, the Native Indians. I'm talking about 77 million Native Indians slaughtered in America through the Trail of Tears, through the battle at Wounded Knee, and all of these different events that happened. You know what I mean? They killed off the Incas, killed off the Mayans, and they killed off the Aztecs to the point where these people are just extinct. They're not even here. So again, like, this is what's happening, man. We're in here under oppression, under white society, not because they're so great, not because we don't apply ourselves. Because I know I hear people say that all the time. You just got to apply yourself.
Right.
You got to get out here and, you got to make a difference.
It's the land of opportunity.
Land of opportunity. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Right.
You got to do it from inside. All of these different things, man. You can have a black president, for God's sake, and you'll still be in hell in this place. Go ahead and read, Doc.
Verse 6. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria.
Now, this is what happened. We sinned against the Lord, and he carried us into captivity into Assyria under Shalmaneser. Go ahead.
And placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan.
Okay, now give me in the Lost Tribes book on page what is it?
160.
On the page 14. Start me at page 14.
So
again, we just read just now that he took us to Assyria over by the land of Halah and in the land of go how you pronounce it? Gozan. And we're gonna read in here in the Lost Tribes and Promised Land, the book. Y'all should get this book, man. Like in the UPK, we're scholars, man. We read all of these different books, and they all will give you further proof that this Bible is real, man. Go ahead and read it up.
This is Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. Page 14.
Yeah.
The legend of the Lost Tribes goes back to the divided kingdom of Hebrew antiquity.
Okay, Hebrew antiquity. What does antiquity mean? Meaning the original Jews, not the so-called man that calls himself the Jew today. He's not the real Jew. We're the real Jews of antiquity. So he's talking about this goes back. Go ahead, read it again.
The legend of the Lost Tribes goes back to the divided kingdom of Hebrew antiquity.
Okay, boom. So the divided kingdom. So that's what we're talking about right now in 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. We're showing you about to go into the dividing of the kingdoms. Go ahead.
Of the traditional 12 tribes, 10 were in the northern kingdom of Israel.
10 were in the northern kingdom of Israel, meaning in Israel, if you look at the map and the time of this time, during this era, the northern part of Israel was for the northern tribes, which is the 10 tribes.
Right.
You understand? Which is your Gadites and your Reubenites and the North American Indians and the Hispanics, right? Go ahead.
And 2, Judah and Benjamin, were in the southern kingdom of Judah.
And the southern kingdom of the nation of the 12 tribes was Judah and Benjamin. Right. And these are your so-called Negroes and your so-called Jamaicans. The Jamaicans, what is it? The Jamaicans, Trinidadians, yeah. Guatemalans, if I'm not mistaken. No, is it Guatemala? No, not Guatemala. The Guyanese.
Okay.
Guyanese. All of those Caribbean tribes, those and the Negroes. That's what those two tribes are. The Southern Kingdom. Go ahead.
When the Assyrians conquered the Northern Kingdom in 722 BCE, they removed virtually its entire population.
Good night. You understand? They uprooted the entire population. This is what we're reading in the Bible right now. That Shalmaneser came to Samaria and took us into Assyria. Go ahead and read it again.
And when the Assyrians conquered the Northern Kingdom in 722 BCE, they removed virtually its entire population and placed them in Halah and in Habor, by the river of Gozan.
We just read that right now in the Bible, right? We just read that. Go ahead.
And in the cities of the Medes.
And in the cities of the Medes. Go ahead and read what you got over there.
This part right here.
Come.
Page 15 says, the 10 lost tribes were not forgotten. However, starting almost immediately after their disappearance, with Isaiah and Jeremiah, and reaching apocalyptic heights in Ezekiel and the apocryphal Esdras. A tradition developed that the recovery of the lost tribes would be part of the general redemption.
Right. So again, we about to read all of that. Go ahead. You can put that down now. You can put that down now. Go back to read what you just read in the Bible about Halah. So we reading right now all of that. We're going to get into Jeremiah. We're going to get into Ezra. We're going to show you all of these things that happened. This is real history. The Bible is not fake, man. Go ahead and read up.
This is 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 6. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan.
There it is. It is by the river of Gozan. Like we just read in Lost Tribes and Promised Land. It says we were virtually completely all took out of that land. Go ahead.
And in the cities of the Medes. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God.
That's why. It wasn't because Shalmaneser was so great. It wasn't because they had such a great army.
Right.
Or because they just, had great tactics.
Right.
And all of this other stuff that you would think. It's not because of that. It's because of what? Read it again.
For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God.
When you sin against the Lord, the God of Israel, black man, Hispanic and Native Indian, he will make you pay. He will oppress you. He will afflict you. He will put curses that will overtake you. I'm talking real legit stuff that you go through every day that we've been through, including chattel slavery.
Right.
It's real, man. They not ruling over us in America because of anything else but our sins. Because we want to do what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
We want to go after what we want to go after.
Right.
We want to live how we want to live.
Right.
And they preach that in these churches. They preach that in America. Be all you can be. Love who you want to love. Don't they say that?
Right.
Love who you want to love became the slogan for the ushering in homosexuality. Love who you want to love. Come on, man. We got to know the truth according to the Bible, that we're in this place and they are pushing sin on us. They're pushing sin on us because they cannot make us sin. We sin. We sin. We choose to sin. We choose to eat pork. And now they done like, because of crafty counsel,
right?
They putting pork in the candy.
Ooh.
They putting pork in, everything got pork in it. Pop-Tarts and Rice Krispie treats and pork. That feminist movement and Planned Parenthood. I'm talking about, it sounds like a Miss America pageant the way they sell those things to us, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, the children and pro-life. Pro-choice. Love who you want to love. America, the land of the free. And those are the same things that cause us to be at the bottom, man. Go ahead and read.
Mm-hmm. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God.
Their God. Not everybody's God. Their God. Because the God of Israel, the one true living God, is the God of Israel. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. All right? These other nations, they don't have no God. Allah is crap.
Right.
It's bull. Mm-hmm. Bull-ish. You understand? Buddha, garbage. Gandhi, garbage. White Jesus, garbage. It's only one real God, and that's Yahweh in the Hebrew, man. The God of Israel.
Right.
Go ahead.
Which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
You know what I mean? He brought us like I told you before, he brought us out of the land of Egypt. That's the God we serve. The God of Israel had put an end to the Egyptians.
Right.
As they knew it. Now look at Egypt. Good night. The Egyptians, they ain't even the same people no more. Right. Ptolemy and Alexander and all of them done invaded Egypt. The white man had invaded Egypt and took over it and reigned over Egypt for some time, to the point where it's desolate now. Mm-hmm. It's ruins. Go ahead.
And had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen.
You understand? We feared other gods. We walked in the statutes of the heathens, meaning we fear Caesar Borgia, who is white Jesus.
Right.
And we follow after America. And America says that it's illegal to smoke weed, then we smoke weed. If America says it's legal to be a homosexual, we marry same sex. If America says that we can do this and anything they say we can do, their statutes, we do it. Instead of following the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, our God. Go ahead.
Whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel.
Go ahead.
And of the kings of Israel.
You understand? And again, like the Lord showed you that those guys in the time of Egypt was bull. Was Hotep and Osiris and Ramses and all of them.
Right.
Garbage. He did the same thing in the Greece Empire with Socrates. Is that am I saying it right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All of those Greek gods, Plato, and all those Greek gods, he did the same thing. And he's going to do the same thing now. And show you that white Jesus and this Christianity and Allah, that rock that you bow down to, and every other thing that you serve unknowingly is all garbage.
Right.
Go ahead.
Which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their God.
It seemed like we could not just put that pork down. It seemed like we just cannot put the homosexuality down. It seemed like we just cannot stop sinning.
Right.
And that's why, again, we had to suffer. We had to pay because we just continuously, like I said, the Lord performed miracles right in front of our face. I mean, for God's sake, he split the Red Sea, dried up the land that we walked across on, the whole sea, and made it crash down on our enemies right before our eyes.
Right.
And we still went and served other gods. Come on, man.
Had the pillar of fire walk us through the night and still had.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Who was it? Isaiah that brought the fire from the sky, had the God sending fire down.
Right.
He told all of these pastors to call on to your God.
Right.
And tell them to set this wood on fire. I'm talking about hundreds of, you know how many pastors it is today? How many Muslim imams and Jewish, pimps there is?
Trash.
Couldn't do it.
Thousands. They was there all day trying to see who's going to bring fire out of the sky. And when it was Isaiah's turn, Isaiah said, all right, put water on the wood. I'm talking about, you know what I mean? Just, put water on the wood, splash it all, get it wet, because wood it can't burn when it's wet.
Right.
So he already about to bring fire from the sky. So he about to show you not only he's going to bring fire from the sky, but he's going to turn wet wood, burn wet wood.
Right.
They
Just
pour water and water and put wood floating in the water. You know what I mean? And he called on the Most High and told him to do that, to send that fire down, to set that wood on fire. And he did that right before everybody's eyes. And what happened? What did we do? We turned right back around and served other guys.
We didn't appreciate it.
We turned right back around and served other guys. And for that reason, that's why the Most High don't even deal with us the way he deal with us in the physical like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is spiritual now.
Right.
Everything is spiritual now. You know what I mean? But go ahead and read.
And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their God.
I mean, think about it. Think about how far you're willing to go to carry out what you want to do today. Even though you know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. Right. You go behind doors and you have sex with white women. Go look at Martin Luther King. Nobody knows he was a orgy Mike having sex with white women. Nobody knows that because he did it secretly. Right.
Damn.
We do it today. We do so much in the name of what we want because we just gotta do it, even if it means the death of ourselves, the death of our children, affliction, pressure, burden, oppression. We do it. It's kind of like the same as I can relate it to crack, cocaine. When you get on crack, it's kind of like you just cannot get off it. It's like you just can't know. And when people start coming down on your body, what do? You get in the corner somewhere and you smoke it, so nobody know you smoking it, even though it's killing you, man. That's us, man. Go ahead and read.
And they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. Mm-hmm. Verse 10. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree. Mm-hmm. And there they burnt incense in all the high places.
That's right.
As did the heathen whom the Lord carried away before them.
As did the what?
As did the heathen whom the Lord carried away before them.
There it is, man. All of these things that we're doing right now in secrecy and even in public, all of the things that we're doing after the heathen. We're following after the heathen, doing all these graven images, getting tattoos, smoking weed, getting high, getting dreadlocks, homosexuality, abortion.
Right.
That's what the heathen does.
Ugh.
That's what the heathen does. The heathens get in the fight with women, get in the fight with their man and throw their man away.
Right.
The heathens get in the fight with their wife and throw away. That's what the heathens do.
Right.
We don't do that.
He trophy wife.
Yeah. We don't do that. The heathen to marry a woman and then be like, damn, that other woman over there looks good. I'm sorry, baby. I love you. I really do. But I love her. So I'm going to throw you away. Because that's what the heathens do. And that's why we learned that in the Greek Empire and in the Roman Empire, monogamy.
Right.
And that's why in America today, so many relationships are ended because of cheating.
Right.
You understand? Because they go and sign papers and then what happened? They go and sign another paper and divorce because they found something better. Or because they don't have to fix their marriage. You don't have to fix my marriage. I could just divorce you.
Right.
But in the U.P.K. and in the nation of Israel and in this Bible, you have to fix your marriage.
Right.
You cannot throw your wife away.
Yeah, right.
You cannot throw your husband away. You have to fix your marriage. All right? So again, we did all of these things following after the heathens, man. Go ahead.
And wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. Mm-hmm. For they served idols
That's what we did, man. We provoking the Lord to anger when we do these sinful things. And I'm just so y'all understand. I'm praying by the end of this class, y'all understand.
Right.
That the Lord is not the one to anger.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd rather anger the white man than anger the Lord.
Right.
You understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the white man can kill my body, but the Lord will put me through hell and my kids through hell. Go ahead.
Whereof the Lord has said unto him,
Mm-hmm.
you shall not do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, turn ye from your evil ways.
You know what I'm saying? And he gave us the opportunity. He said, turn ye from your evil ways. And the U.P.K, that's what we require for anybody that comes into the school. To turn from your evil ways. You cannot come into the U.P.K and just existing here happily as a homosexual. Right. Existing here happily as a weed smoker, existing here happily as, any sinful thing. You have to turn away from your evil ways. Right. You have to do it. In the Christian church, what they say, come as you are. Right. And you said the pimp, the goddamn pastor's a pimp. Right. The choir director is a homosexual. Everybody in the deacon board is, whores and, and adulterers and fornicators. And the congregation is full of hoes and drug dealers and every other evil thing you can think of. Right. And they pray and they shout and they dance every week. They do it. They ain't nobody got a good old concert. Good old concert, man. A good old time in that church, man. You want to say something about?
I just want to say real quick. I like how it says against Israel and against Judah. So at this point, we were separated. And it's just kind of pinpointing the fact that he's talking about all of us.
Right. Because, again, the northern tribe, like we just read in the Lost Tribes in Promised Land, because we didn't even get there yet, but they got split. 10 tribes was the northern tribes, 2 tribes were the southern tribes, right. Judah and Benjamin. But, again, before this split, it was actually, before this, we was taken off into captivity, we were given the opportunity to turn from our ways. Right. And guess what? It's the same today. Right. You hearing us right now. These priests and these prophets are alive and well. Right. And they're in these neighborhoods, in these workplaces, in these streets, and you hear what they're saying. They're your father. They're your husband. They're your brothers. They're your sons. And they're telling you the truth. And they're giving you the opportunity to turn from your ways, because if you don't, there's going to be judgment that follows. Right. Right. Go ahead and read.
Keep my commandments and my statutes according to all the law which I commanded your fathers.
Right, your fathers. We read in Deuteronomy, right?
Right.
That's our fathers. At this time, our fathers is Adam. He gave Adam the same laws. You know what I mean? The same statutes. He gave Moses the same laws, the same statutes. Those are our fathers. He told us already long ago. Go ahead.
And which I sent to you by my servants, the prophets.
I sent to you by my servants, the prophets. Here we are today in the U.P.K, man. Sent again to tell you to come from your evil ways, to turn from your evil ways, man. We woke up. We had to change from our evil ways to be blameless. Go ahead.
Notwithstanding, they would not hear.
No, notwithstanding, they hear. I mean, they did not budge. They did not budge. They said, you know what? I'm going to eat this pork. I don't know what you're doing over there in that cult, but I'm going to eat this pork. Right. I don't know what you're doing over there in that cult, but I ain't dealing with all that multiple wives business. Right. I don't know what you're doing in that cult, but I'm going to marry these white women. I love white women. I love African women. I don't know what you're doing in that cult, but this is what I'm going to do. When in actuality, you're in the real cult. Right. You're really in the cult.
You're in the hate group.
You're the real hate group. That's correct. You're the real hate group, man. You hate black people, man. You hate Hispanics. Right. You hate Native Indians if you go against this Bible. Right. If you go against these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Everything the Lord told us to do is under, it all hangs on brotherhood. Love for one another, man. You know? Go ahead and read, Doc.
But harden their necks.
Harden their necks. I mean, they're stubborn. Stubborn, man. Like we are so stubborn. Like we'll know it's the truth. Know it's facts. Knowing the proof is in the pudding, we see it and it tastes good. But we be like, you know what I want to do tastes better.
Right.
Stiff-necked people, man, stubborn. Go ahead. Would take themselves and their whole family down, and then as a bigger picture, our whole nation stays in captivity.
Right.
For the minds of those who decide to do what they want to do.
Right.
Go ahead and read that.
Like to the neck of their fathers that did not believe in the Lord their God.
Right. Because after Moses brought us out of Egypt, we had a chance to follow them. And then what did it say? We was still not believing in our God.
Mm-hmm.
That was our fathers. We still didn't believe in our God. We still didn't follow those laws, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain.
They followed vanity, man. Meaning everything that you think you're doing is nothing.
Yeah.
Everything you think you're about to get is not about to happen. Everything you think you're about to accomplish, it's not happening, man. It's nothing. Nothing, man. It's vanity. Vain. Vain means nothing. It's nothing at all. You understand? Go ahead and read.
And went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them.
Read that again.
And they went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them.
Read that one more time, man.
And went after.
Hey, Salakia, can y'all go in the room? Salakia, go ahead and read it again.
And went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them.
Read that one more time, huh?
And went after the heathen.
And went after the heathen
that were round about them.
That were round about them. Like those things, the decisions that you making in your mind, you fit right into America.
Right.
You fit right into the UK and all of these heathens. You fit right into them. You fit right into their culture. You don't even know it. You think that you're doing something that's unique to you. That's something that you just know was right. You got this in your mind figured out. No, you doing like you're the heathens that are round about you.
Right.
The heathens that rule over you. Right. That's what you're doing. Go ahead.
That reminds me of Salakia. That reminds me of Jeremiah chapter 10, because it says, learn not the way of the heathen, right?
It is.
And when we talk about Christmas, we talk about all these holidays and things that have nothing to do with our culture. We've been brainwashed into following ever since our forefathers was taken into captivity by them. And nowadays, it's time to wake up, and it's time to revitalize our culture and leave theirs to themselves, so that them heathens round about us, let them do their thing. We need to do our thing.
I'm right. And that's what it is, man. Like I said, these things are embedded in our minds, man. We for generations, man. Our granny and our great granny and our great granny were raised under these ideologies, under these religions. And here we are today, a product of it. Born into a society where homosexuality is out the wall and the ceilings, coming out the radio, out the TV. You know what I mean? Weed smoke and, cigarettes and, every other evil thing.
Right.
It's pouring out. You might not, and for those who don't have the spirit of the Lord, you can't even see where it's at and how it's coming. You don't even see it. And before you know it, your child is a homosexual. Before you know it, your child is smoking weed and cigarettes and is a lesbian. Before you know it. Go ahead and read,
Con, you want me to read that whole part again?
Nuh-uh, you can go ahead and continue.
Concerning whom the Lord had charged them, that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God and made them molten images, even 2 calves.
You know what I mean? 2 calves again. This is what we did. Go ahead and continue. We wanted to worship other gods and do everything else that we wanted to do. Go ahead.
And made a grove and worshipped all the host of heaven and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire.
You see what I'm saying? We cause our sons and our daughters to pass through the fire. See what I'm saying? Like the decisions that we make affect our children. It affects our children and our children's children and their children and our great grandchildren.
Right.
The decisions that we make. We cause them to suffer. Why we do these things, man? Why do we do these things? Go ahead and continue.
And used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore, the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight.
Here we go. Here we go now. Here we go. Go ahead.
There was none left but the tribe of Judah only.
There we go. So again, so now the Lord has taken all of the tribes and removed them from his sight. Go ahead. Only except the tribe of Judah. Go ahead.
Verse 19. Also, Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made.
So boom. So Judah was left after Israel, which is the northern tribes, but then Judah did like the northern tribes did.
Right.
Judah now started to do the same thing and follow the so-called Negroes started to do what the Hispanics was doing, what the Native Indians was doing. You know, eating pork, and I'm talking about Mexicans eat alligator and they eat, you know, iguana. That's like a delicacy. Iguana soup. You know what I mean?
Try that. Sound gross.
You know what I mean? And again, like these are the things that they love to do, and we followed after them, the Negroes. We followed after the northern tribes. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them.
All the seed of Israel. Go ahead.
And delivered them into the hand of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight.
Go ahead.
Verse 21. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord.
Right.
And made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did.
Right.
They departed not from them.
Okay, no sweat. We're going to drop that right there. And let me get Jeremiah 16 and 13. Okay. So now we understand what happened. So we were in the land together. And the Lord, because we were sinning, the Lord had to divided the kingdoms from each other, right? The northern kingdom was the 10 tribes, which is the Native Indians and Hispanics, and then the southern tribe was Judah and Benjamin, which is the Negroes and all of the West Indians, right? So boom. What you said?
This last part here just sums it all up.
Go ahead, go ahead, knock it off.
It says, and this ends verse 23. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day.
Right. So boom, to this day, right?
At that point in time.
Right? To that day. So we're going to get into it now. So now we're in Assyria, right? We're going into Assyria, into the Assyrian captivity. Now we're going to go into Jeremiah and show where we go. Where we starting at again?
We're in Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 13.
That's correct.
Therefore will I cast you out of this land into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers.
Right, go ahead. And
there shall you serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor.
Yeah, there we go. So again, this is all the times that we've been in the captivity. Whether it was the Egyptians, he sent us under the captivity under the Egyptians, and we served other gods, and the Lord was not with us, or under the Assyrian Empire, or the Babylonian Empire. Or, you know what I mean? Or now the American Empire.
Right.
Where we're here now serving other gods. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
Right, go ahead.
But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north.
Right, so from the land of the north. So again, he brought us out of the land of the north. So what is the land of the north? What verse we at right now?
Verse 15.
All right, so he brought us out of the land of the north. Go ahead, finish 15.
And from all the lands whither he had driven them.
Right, so again, now in Jeremiah, like now we were talking about, you understand? Now in Jeremiah, what we were just talking about, how we read it in Lost Tribes and Promised Land, but that, you know, these things are spoken through Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, all the way to 2nd Ezra, right, and the Apocrypha. So again, like we're gonna go from Assyria to the northern, to the lands of the north, like he prophesied, like it happened. Go ahead and read it in 2nd Ezra. We're gonna show you right now how the northern tribes, meaning the so-called Native Indians or in the so-called Latinos, ended up in America. Go ahead.
Khan. Second Esdras, chapter 13, verse 40. These are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea, the king.
Right. So in the land of in the time of Hosea, we was in Samaria, right?
Right.
And then we were taken out because we were, being sinful.
Right.
Right. And then the Lord sent Shalmaneser, right? Did I pronounce that right? Shalmaneser, right? The king of Assyria, to take us into captivity. And then throughout time, we went into captivity in Syria for some time. Go ahead.
Whom Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came up they into another land. Right.
So the water that he crossed us over was the Euphrates.
Right.
The Euphrates River. So we went over the Euphrates into another land, right? Which was Assyria.
Right.
Okay. Assyria. And it says, read it from the top again.
Verse 40. These are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land.
So the 10 tribes, again, the 10 tribes are the North American Indians and the Latinos, all of their different tribes. Go ahead.
In the time of Hosea, the king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land.
And again, when we read over there and where we were just at in 2 Kings, it said he was going to take us to a land which our fathers did not know, where we would serve other gods. So we were taken to another land, and that's what we did. We did exactly what he said. We served other gods. You know what I mean? And like no different than we do in America today, man. Everything that you do that's against what God said is serving another god.
Right.
It's making the Lord jealous, making him angry. It's whoredom. Go ahead.
Verse 41.
Spiritual whoredom. Go ahead.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country.
So you know what? They said, man, listen, they knew after some time, these people are not for us.
Right.
These people hate us. These Assyrians and so on and so forth. These heathens, they hate us. We're suffering. We're at the bottom.
Right.
Black lives matter.
Right.
You understand? Right? No different than we are today.
Right.
Go ahead. You about to say something?
No, I was just saying that's crazy because it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's nothing new under the sun, man. The only thing is that we keep on making the same mistakes from our pride, from our egos, from us being, and lack of leadership, being able to learn what we need to learn and hold on to it and make sacrifices and fight our demons, man. So again, Black Lives Matter. We gotta have protests. We gotta see our kids die. Like we just read, our children have to pass through the fire. Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, and all of these kids that died, that their parents had to mourn. It's all because of the sins of our nation, because of what we're doing, that we're in America suffering. We gotta protest. And we always got brothers on the t-shirt, black on black crime, mass incarceration, abortion. You know what I mean? Quarter million abortions a year, black babies being murdered, man. Single parent, 75%, 80% single parent homes, man.
Damn.
Such a burden on women to have to bear these children and raise them on their own,
man, and
wag around with them. It's oppression, and we're realizing now that where we at in the scripture, they're realizing then that this is not for us.
Right. That
we need to listen to what the Lord say. We need to stop doing what we want to do. Stop serving these other gods. And we're coming to that point now in America. We're waking up. We're waking up. The children of Israel are waking up under Commander General Yohanan, man.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
And go forth into a further country.
Now they said they came together and said we got to get up out of here and separate from these heathens. Stop serving their gods. Stop being their friends and making marriages with them. Stop following their ideologies. Leave their churches, their religions, their philosophies. Leave it all alone. Let's go into our own land. And history always shows us anytime we go into our own land, we do much better. Just for the most recent history, Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street, we left the heathen. They let us free in emancipation, and we said we're going to separate from them. They didn't even want us around after they freed us. So we had to separate. We ended up going into Oklahoma and all these other places, and we ended up building cities, building towns, and we was making money, and we was booming. Black Wall Street. We do good when we on our own. When we separate from these heathens, man.
Mm-hmm.
I want to show you right now. That's what they talking about doing right now. They like, we got to get the hell up out of here and do what the Lord told us to do. Go ahead and read.
Where never mankind dwelt.
Now, they said they're going to go to a land now where no mankind ever dwelt. This is a land a new world where no man is occupied this land.
Right.
Go ahead.
That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
I mean, there they will nowadays. Now they can go there and do the will of the Lord. Let's get right. Let's go over here and get right. Now, ask me this question in the chat. Anybody that's watching the video right now, who was in America before the Native Indians and the Latinos? Who was in the Americas before the Native Indians and the Latinos? I want to know if you have the answer. Who was in America? Yo, who was in America before the Latinos and the Native Indians? From the North, Central, and South America. With all the historians at.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give y'all a second. What verse we at right now?
We're in verse 43.
43. Okay. Read it again from the top, 43.
Come on. And they entered into the Euphrates. Did you want me to start from the verse before?
Yeah, verse 4.
Okay. Verse 42. Mm-hmm. That they might there keep their statutes.
Start me off at 41.
Come on. Mm-hmm. Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country.
Go forth into a further country. Go ahead.
Where never mankind dwelt.
Where never mankind dwelt. Nobody answered the question except Kabar. In the chat under the alias I.S.U.P.K San Antonio.
Big ups, Officer Kabar.
Yeah, damn right. Give up to Officer Kabar. Officer Kabar been holding down the San Antonio class from day one, man. He's been doing an excellent job. All of y'all been checking in, asking questions, taking notes. Shouts out to y'all, man. Kabar is an excellent officer in San Antonio. Right. You know what I mean? We're going to make sure we raise the dead under the army and order of the Most High in Christ under Commander General Yohana, man. All right? I ain't seen nobody answer that question. Let me go ahead. Let's give him the answer. Read that again.
Start verse 41.
Yep.
Verse 41, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country.
Go ahead.
Where never mankind dwelt.
Where what?
Never mankind dwelt.
Where what?
Never mankind dwelt.
That's who was in America. The Americas before the Native Indians and the Latinos. Nobody was here. That's why we are. America is Mexico.
Right.
That's why America is Mexico, because they were here. They founded this land. They came here and set up their cities and their villages. They did that. The Native Indians, same thing. They roamed these lands, these prairies. You know what I mean? They were here first. It was beautiful before Esau, the white man, came over here and built up these factories and these, this ugly mess of a place that's liking unto the place where they come from. The caves and the mountains, man. This place called America was first inhabited by the Native Indians and the Latinos, man.
Salakia, I just want to say, and the picture comes to mind where before all these houses were made, before all these roads and businesses and Capitol buildings and everything that came up, once this empire was created, we was hunting buffalo on this land. We was building teepees. We was having fire. We were speaking Hebrew.
Damn right.
We would, you know what I'm saying? We were trying to keep the laws.
Matter of fact, go ahead and give me that Lost Trials and Promised Land book.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get 364. Let's get 364. Right. We were definitely speaking Hebrew.
Okay, there it is.
Man, and what the brother is bringing out is so heavy, because that's why you in America, between here and the Central and South America, you see there's carvings of shields in stone.
Right, yeah.
You see there's carvings of shields in stones in Americas today. You see that there's still Hebrew carved into the stones ancient Hebrew, not Assyrian Hebrew, ancient Hebrew carved into the stones. You understand? Because these tribes had held on to the customs of their people, because they was able to preserve it because they left out of captivity and came to America. So they kept their traditions here, like they just said in the Bible. They read it one more time in 41 before you get there.
Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen,
right,
and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Go ahead.
That they might there keep their statutes.
That they might do what?
Keep their statutes.
Go ahead.
Which they never kept in their own land.
Now look, they came to America keeping the same statutes, the same traditions. That's why you see a lot of those old pictures of the Native Indians.
Yeah,
they had on fringes.
Right.
You see the Mexicans and Hispanics, the northern tribes, all of them. Those pictures, they have fringes on their borders.
Right.
Fringes on their garments. You know, shields on their boats, shields in the rocks. You know, and so on and so forth.
Right.
They kept those things here in America. Go ahead and continue. Give me what I want in the book, Lost Tribes.
This is Lost Tribes of Promised Lands, page 364.
Go ahead.
And the author states, those Indians, he told themselves, they are Hebrews. Pondering.
Read that again.
He says, those Indians, he told himself, they are Hebrews.
Those Indians, they are Hebrews. You hear that? These settlers that were here in America after the fact, that did research on the Native Indians,
right,
that did research on the Hispanics, the Incans and Mayas and all that, that did all of that research, they knew that these were the Hebrews.
Right.
No different than after us coming to America, the Negroes came. After we came, they did research on us. They researched us and found out that we are the same people, the Negroes who were in slavery in Egypt. That our skulls, I forgot what's the word for that study of skulls. Anthropology. Is it anthropology?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so anthropology, they were researching the skulls of the slaves that were in America,
right, and
comparing them to the skulls of the slaves that they found and dug up in Egypt. And they found out that they had the same skull, the fresh makeup,
right,
that we were and truly indeed the ones that were in slavery in Egypt, and that we did not match the skull structure of Africans.
Damn, that's, you talk about science, man. Even that shows the truth,
right?
Too.
And you can, that's in the book, that Black Image in a White Mind, if I'm not mistaken.
Man.
The Black Image in a White Mind. It tells you that their skulls, that the Negro skulls were different than the African skulls, but they were definitely an exact resemblance to the skulls of the slaves that were buried in Egypt.
Damn right.
So again, these people came here and did research, and they said, what again?
They said those Indians, he told themselves, they are Hebrews.
They are Hebrews, man. You Native Indians out there, if you Cherokee, Sioux, Apache, all of those different Native Indian tribes,
right?
You're a Hebrew, man. You come from these 12 tribes of Israel. This is the book of your God, this Bible. This is the book of your God. This is the book of your heritage, your laws, your commandments, your culture, your traditions. This is your book. This is your history book. That's what this is. If you are Native Indian, this is your book. Go ahead and read.
Pondering this thought incredulously and yet with growing conviction, he resolved that if he ever was released, he would seek out the Indian Francisco and try to learn the truth.
You understand? So they want to seek out the Indian Francisco, which at this time was a man of renown, somebody that was elder,
right,
so to speak, who can give him the information of his people to the roots and the cores, right? And that's why they did what they did to the Native Indians.
Right.
That's why they did it, because they wanted them to not have the knowledge of their history. So they castrated them. They got them drunk out of their mind, killed them, gave them smallpox, all to damage their families, for them to be able to cut off those stories that they told each other throughout generations, those languages that they had, that they kept throughout generations, that Hebrew. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Just like they do the Native Americans now.
They do them there. They do it now.
Yep,
they do it now. They do it right now today. They got them on reservations. They've done all of that. That whole Trail of Tears and all that, and you know, and that whole treaty with Christopher Columbus and all of that. man, they destroyed the native Indians and all of those inhabitants that were here in order to keep secret what they knew, in order to take over this land and rule over them. Right. Go ahead and read, huh?
Khan. Did you want me to get the Hebrew part, right?
Yeah, Khan, get down there. So he wanted to get with the elder to find out more about the Indians' connections to the Hebrews. Go ahead.
Waving a banner high in the air, the Indian guide soon was greeted by a puff of smoke far beyond the other bank of the river.
Right.
In response to his signal, the men waited. Eventually, a canoe appeared bearing 3 men and a woman, all of them Indians, to the place where Francisco and Montesinos were standing at the water's edge. The woman.
So again, we got like, you know, how the U.P.K got.
You're right.
You know, we got order.
That was order.
Yeah, we got order. You know what I mean? You got a high-ranking man. You got men that you send to go, you know, we got at the door Shamar, which is guard.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they sent them guard out to go escort these people to their elder.
And get the signal with the smoke.
Smoke signals, all of that. You know what I mean? to take him to their elder. Go ahead.
It says, the woman got off and spoke to Francisco in an Indian tongue that Montesinos could not understand.
So now read that part again.
The woman got off and spoke to Francisco in an Indian tongue that Montesinos could not understand.
So from a sister to her brother, being both Indians. Listen real clear now. These are 2 Indians, 2 so-called Indians.
Right.
He came, they got this white man, brought him back, brought him to the elder. She gets off the boat with the other 3 Indians and talks to, what's his name, Fernando?
Yeah,
Francisco.
Yeah.
And she spoke to him.
Right, and she spoke to Francisco, and Montesinos didn't know what they were saying.
Right, read it again.
It says, the woman got off, talking about the canoe, right? And spoke to Francisco in an Indian tongue that Montesinos could not understand.
He cannot understand it. Read.
Although he could perceive that he was being identified in the conversation.
Go ahead.
She then turned to her male companions to explain the situation.
So now she giving him the breakdown. Like, this is, what's his name?
Montesinos.
She probably was like, this is the oppressor. Yeah. You know what I mean? She in Hebrew like, hey, this is you know, the heathen. You know what I mean? This is Idumea. Right. Idumea. He coming over here, the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks of. And he wants to come and find out about our heritage and where we come from. So she giving him the breakdown.
Right.
Go ahead.
Man, that's crazy. Because what she's like an interpreter, right? And so what happens is she's like, okay, they're talking a different language, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, well, what language can we speak that they might understand? Right. And so he comes in and it says right here, she then turned to her male companions to explain the situation. Right. Upon hearing her words, they rose, went over to Montesinos, and to his utter astonishment said, Shema Yasharallah, Yahweh Allahayna, Yahweh Echad, which means, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one.
Man, listen, we spoke Hebrew. The native Indians and the Mexicans and the Puerto Ricans and all of us that were scattered in the North, South, Central, and North America spoke Hebrew. That we had our tongue. You know what I mean? We knew the traditions. She spoke it to him. Read it again, the highlighted part.
Right. She then turned to her male companions to explain the situation. Upon hearing her words, they rose, went over to Montesinos, and to his utter astonishment said, Shema Yasharallah, Yahweh Allahayna, Yahweh Echad.
Which means,
hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. They had recited in Hebrew the fundamental credo of Judaism.
You understand the fundamental credo of Judaism, man. They spoke the native tongue, man. The northern tribes, being the so-called native Indians and Latinos, are the Hebrew Israelites, man. Right. They are the Hebrew Israelites. We came to America they came to America leaving the Assyrian captivity. Right. To get from under the Assyrian king. And they came to America. You understand? We're gonna go back into we're gonna come back into to the Bible, but they came back, they left the Assyrian captivity and went to America. Like he said, a land, read it. Matter of fact, go back to 41. Now that we read that. Go ahead.
Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Right. So they came to America, and again, that's not our name. Indian, Cherokee.
Right.
You know, that's not Sioux. That's not our name.
Right.
The word Indian means savage.
Right.
That's the name that was given us by our oppressors when they got there. They called us savages.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not our real name. Our real name is Gad. Our real name is Shemaiwan.
Right.
Simeon, right? And Ephraim. Zabalawan. Issachar, right? Yashakar. That's our real names. Gad. Those are our real names, man. We would call Indians by these same people who were there oppressing us and researching us at the same time.
Right.
They still do it today. They oppress us and research us today. They want to figure out how LeBron James is so good. They trying to make their kids good. The Chinese man want his son to be able to dunk. You know what I mean?
Right.
How do they?
Like
Yeah. They got a movie that might come out, and they trying to make their kids have these abilities.
Like it. There was a couple years ago, a billionaire had, I don't know if they said it jokingly or if they were serious, but they wanted to mate LeBron James with, was it Venus Williams, one of the Williams sisters?
Yeah.
One of the tennis.
Serena.
Serena Williams, one of them out. And it was like a big slap in the face to use those kinds of terms.
Right.
In that kind of situation, because they're like trying to create a super child to like take over.
And then they look at us as subhuman.
Right. Yeah.
Like they could just experiment on us and just research us and bring us into their lab to study. And what are you doing?
Because as big as Yao Ming was, he could barely dunk.
Right.
Trash.
Still got dunked on by AI.
He was Garbino.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Garbage.
As big as he is, as Shaq used to run the floor with point guard.
Right.
T-Mag, you should have came to San Antonio.
He
was always injured.
All right, listen, let's get back to it, man. So again, they called us savages. So now this explorer that we talking about knew that these wasn't just Indians, that these were the actual Hebrews. And we say reading it right now. Continue.
That there they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates.
So they kept their statutes that they didn't keep in their own land. So again, we were speaking Hebrew in America.
Right.
You know what I mean? The Native Indians and the Latino, they were speaking Hebrew. They knew about the Shield of David.
Right.
They knew about the brotherhood, the laws, the statutes, the commandments, the Magun Dawadah. They knew about all of that. That's why you can go down there and see all of these empires that was built, these ruins, and there literally be artifacts or ruins with shields on them. Pictures of Native Indians with fringes on. They kept those traditions here in America. Go ahead.
Come on. Verse 43. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over.
So again, the Lord ushered them in there, because again, the Lord is at our service when we want to do right. He's at our service. That's the service of God. He's going to do what you need him to do when you're doing what he needs you to do.
Right.
Period. You know what I mean? You following those laws, statutes, and commandments, he'll part the sea for you.
Right.
He'll rain fire from the heavens. He'll put your enemies underneath you. He'll deliver your enemies into you as an inheritance.
Right.
As servants. That's what the Lord will do. That's the service of the Most High. So now these men and these women who are the so-called Native Indians and Latinos decided we're going to serve God. We're going to do what we're supposed to do. And matter of fact, let's go to our own land so we can be separate from the influences of these heathens.
Right.
And the Lord said, bet.
Right.
Bet. Let me go ahead and
might be in the full one. I don't know. I was looking up Asheret, but I was on.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, you can look that up in there. You understand? And the Lord said, bet. Part of the Euphrates, let them go through, and they went across. Go ahead.
Verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half.
Now they on foot, you know what I mean, and it's taking them a whole year and a half.
Like this is, So like, was this when they were in the ocean?
Right. So they coming across now.
Like the flood till they passed over. Okay.
So they passing over, and it took them a whole year and a half to get across. Read it again.
For though that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth.
So again, the same region is called Arsareth, and that's what y'all pulling up in the script. I mean, in the Zondervan, right? You found it.
Let me see if I could. It's like, yeah, I might have the Strong's dictionary in my sword. Hold on, let me see if it's in there.
A-R-Z?
No, A-R-S. A-R-E-T-H.
Not in there?
No, sir.
Okay. See if we can find it. If not, we'll move on.
Okay, kind of. Let's see.
No, she.
All right, but longer the story short, right? While the brothers is getting his land, right? These people who are the so-called the northern tribes, the 10 tribes, they decided that they wanted to serve the Lord, man. After being under the oppression of the heathens for so long and seeing the results of the lifestyle that they lived from the choices that they made, they decided no more. We want to go and to serve the Lord. We know that these people are our enemies, and everything that we do that resembles what they do is destroying us, man. It's killing us. Our kids are dying. Our kids are destroyed because of it. And because of that, they said, listen, we want to serve our Lord. And that's the thing about the Most High, or any parent for that matter. Like how most of the time do you get your kid to listen to what you say when they don't want to listen?
Found it right here.
You got to give them a good butt whooping, right? You got to give them a good butt whooping. When you give them a good butt whooping, they'll listen. They'll follow it. Then when you give them a good butt whooping, you spank that behind. That's when they're gonna be like, oh, well, I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing it again. The Lord uses these other nations, these heathens, to beat our butt, man. To beat our butts. Go ahead and read it again out in the scripture, and then give me the definition.
Verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth.
So he got Arsareth right here. Go ahead and read it.
This is from the Jewish Encyclopedia, the unedited full text of the 1906 Jewish Encyclopedia. So this is just to show you that our oppressor knows who we are. This is the definition of the word Arsareth. The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of the restoration, according to Esdras. Was it chapter 13,
13,
verse 45, which we just read. Columbus identified America with this land. That's what it says.
So boom. So is any more on that? That's it. It's just more.
Right,
but
yeah.
as you know, that what you need.
So Columbus knew where he was going.
Columbus knew what Arsareth was.
They knew.
It wasn't a fluke.
Arsareth comes from the Hebrew word aratazah.
Okay.
And aratazah means land or country or earth, like land.
Okay.
You understand? So
Christopher Columbus wasn't looking for India; he was looking for Arsareth.
Right, which is land. He knew that this was a land that was there. That's why he said it's a new world. Aratazah can also mean world or land. So he said this is a new world. He discovered a new world. So again, Asareth or Aratazah or America, now that we understand and connecting all of the dots, because this is the only land where no man has known, is America. And this is where they went to, right?
I bookmarked that definition. That was a good definition. The way he
exactly.
brought it out.
That was it. That was a good one. Hey, get it. We're going to give a hand to Ayalawan, man. This brother right here is sharp. Trooper Ayalawan, you know what I mean? From the tribe of Zebulon, right? You know what I mean? It's the tribe of Zebulon, which is what? Which is what so-called?
Mayans.
So-called Mayans.
It's Central America. Right, from Panama to Uruguay.
So from Panama to Uruguay, northern tribe.
Right. You
understand? Zebulon, one of the tribes, Zabalawan. All right, so this brother is a sharp brother. You know, he definitely is the might of the Lord, for sure. You know what I mean? So go ahead and read that up. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Mighty tree, that would mean, yeah. Did you want me to go back to verse?
Let's get back to the scripture that ended with Azareth.
Now
that you already read the definition.
And the same region is called Arsareth. Then dwelt they there until the latter time.
So, like he just read in that definition, it says that they will be there to the restoration,
right?
Meaning to when Christ comes back and puts Israel back in rulership,
right?
Go ahead,
right? And now when they shall begin to come, that's the end of that verse.
What verse is that?
That was the end of verse 46.
46. Okay, take me. All right. So you know what? We're gonna end it there. All right, we're gonna end it there. So Israel, being the northern tribes, they came into the land of America. They knew their traditions. They knew it all. Even the white man that came afterwards studied them and knew that these were the Hebrews. No different than the white man came after the Negroes came here and knew we were the Jews.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like everybody knows that we're the Hebrew Israelites. Right. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, they know we're the Hebrew Israelites. The only people that don't know is us.
Right.
And that's why the Bible calls us the lost sheep. Right. And because we follow these other laws and we don't follow the law, statutes, commandments, and we sin against the Lord, we suffer. Right. And our oppressors rule over us. You know what I mean? Right. They rule over us. But we're going to come back to our law, statutes, and commandments, and the Lord will destroy our enemies and America. With that, I'm going to pass the class over to Trooper Ayalawan.
So security numbers?
Yeah, come.
I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for the new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to show themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, is found in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Ma'ashera means tenth in the Hebrew language. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest funds, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. We do have the Passover coming up next month on the 24th. That is the Passover, the 14th day of the first month. This is found in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verses 1 through 51. Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 4 through 5. 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, verses 7 through 8. And 2 Chronicles, chapter 30, verses 17. Directly followed the next sundown, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is the 15th day of the first month and goes for 7 days from sundown to sundown. Found in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verses 17 through 20, and Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 6 through 8. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. Boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And then the Lord's Prayer is what we're going to go through next. Okay, which way is the...
East is this way.
Okay.
You got the prayers on your phone? You do?
Yeah.
I shared it with him.
Abanao. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Haya. Shemka. Yahweh. Malakwaka. Saba'ah. Ratazaka. Haya. Aisha. Ra'arataza. Kawab. Haya. Bashamayim. Nathan Lanao. Lacham. Kal. Yawam. Wasalak Lanao. Kawawath now. Kasalak now. Kawawath now. Wala'ah. Tabi'ai now. Banasaya 1. Abo. Hawashai now. Mayan. Rai. Kaya. Lakha. Hamalakwa. Waha'ala. Wa'atha Pa'ara. La'ai Walamya. Aman.
All right, in the English.
English.
English. Our Father,
Our
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done
in earth,
as
it is in heaven.
it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our
As
debts.
we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not.
And lead us not
into
into temptation.
But deliver us.
From
evil.
From evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it.
All right. I'm going to do one courtesy salute for the brothers. Individual, Amajim Shabbat. Imajim, Barak.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yazamatah. Class dismissed.